Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Is there a motion for the agenda?
President, I move that the board approve the April 14, 2025 agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Next, we'll have a report of the board members.
Afternoon and good evening, everybody. I have been out for a while due to personal things that I experienced, and I thank everyone for the prayers and I'm actually able to stand up on both legs. But I did get a chance to go to the Sparkle Conference this week, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and for all of the young people that were there, I'm totally proud of you. Totally proud of superintendent and all of the staff that were there. It was a real spark. So I did get a chance to join,
I'm gonna,
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say I also joined in and had a phenomenal time with our amazing superintendent and so many of our staff and other members of the board at Sparkle. I want to say thank you guys, whoever did attend, for joining us at Sparkle. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna get a little ahead of myself. We have two board members who are gonna be their last meeting today, and I wrote my report, and I wanted to share this with you guys and Miss Bobby. Tonight, we take time not only as colleagues, but as a community to honor and celebrate Miss Bobby Salisbury, who has left a lasting imprint on the Raytown School Board. As Miss Bobby steps away from this chapter of service, it is only fitting that we take a moment to express our deepest gratitude and energy and for her time and energy and the heart she poured into our schools and our students. Ms. Bobby has been more than just a board member. Through her faith and consecration to God, she has been true advocate for equity, a voice of reason, a champion of every child in our district. Her dedication to quality education and commitment to transparency and accountability has helped shape important decisions that will benefit our students for years to come. I can remember when I first got on the board, one, it was just a shock to me. She was one of the people that encouraged me to actually be on the board. Jerome Barnes initially, but when I got on the board, I would say she took me under her wing. When you first get on the board, you have a lot of ideas and things, and the first thing you got to learn is that you got to work with 6 other people. And Miss Bobby has certainly taught me that. She doesn't go to sleep at night, and it's kind of funny. It's the only woman that my wife will let me talk to at midnight. And so, but we talk, we listen, we pray. So whether it's the late nights reviewing policy, long meetings navigating through tough choices, or quiet moments spent praying for and listening to community concerns, Ms. Bobby has shown up. She led with integrity and has never lost sight of why we are here, the students. On behalf of myself, the entire board, and the Raytown community. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Your Your legacy will continue in every student who walks across the graduation stage, every teacher who feels supported, every family who knows their voice matters. While we're sad to see you go, we hope you carry with you pride of knowing that you've made a difference. Thank you, Ms. Bobby. You always have a place in Raytown.
Thank you. Now, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I've
Yes,
been
ma'am.
here for 18 years, and I guess it was time for me to make a change. At least that's what they tell me anyway. So I'm making a change. I'm grateful to the Lord for giving me this opportunity. I'm very grateful to God for experiencing Him in another dimension. And I want to tell you guys that I love you each individually and collectively. There's nothing that you could say to me to disappoint me. Nothing that you could do to me to disappoint me. Because I'm made just that way. That's the way I'm made. So I want to just leave this with you. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, I commit the Raytown School District to you. And I ask you to bless it ups and its downs, bless them. In the name of Jesus Christ, I declare and decree a blessing upon this district, that you will prosper and not go under, that your APR will come up in the name of Jesus Christ. I just declare the name of Jesus Christ over this district, and I look for this district to blossom forth and to be all that it can be. And I thank you guys for allowing me to say those words.
Amen. All right. That concludes the report of the board members. Next, we have a report of the superintendent.
So I'm unsure how to follow that, but thank you, Chairman Burton, Vice Chairman Newton, and members of the Raytown Quality School District Board, and to the members of the amazing Raytown Quality School Districts community. There are several items under the superintendent's report, but I'd like to preface with saying thank you, Ms. Bobby, for your support. And thank you for giving the young lady from the East Coast an opportunity to come into your amazing community. Thank you for all that you've done. And I will just say publicly, you have never wavered when I've brought forward ideas and concepts that's going to benefit children. My eyes are sweating, I'm sorry. You have never wavered. You've asked questions. You've challenged us all. And so I thank you for who you are and what you stand for and what you represent. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this team, to be a part of this community. And you will always have a place here in Raytown as far as I'm concerned. So having you as a board member has been an honor and a blessing. And so as we move forward with the blessings, many of you have already talked about the Sparkle. I just want to take a moment to thank our staff, to thank our students, to thank our community, to thank our business partners and our presenters. Last week, we had our third annual Sparkle Conference. And for those of you who are unaware of what Sparkle stands for, it's an empowerment conference that we've begun 3 years ago. Upon a need that we've recognized that our young ladies need outside of what is delivered in the capacity of instruction in a classroom. It was based on need. It was initially designed by children with staff, but it was just a sparkle in my eye when I came to the staff and said, we need to sparkle. And they looked at me like, today? Yes, today. in a few weeks, we need to sparkle. So we did they're whispering and talking about me. So I hear you because I will acknowledge that you all conformed at the very beginning, knowing it's what's best for kids. And so this past week, we had our Sparkle Conference. And when you hear the feedback from our young ladies, where we had sessions that were focused on financial literacy, areas focused on social emotional awareness, looking at resume building, interview skills, all those traits, dressing for success that will help our children, coupled with the academic success they'll receive, to move forward to be positive and productive in our society. So I just want to publicly thank our staff for putting this together. I want to thank our presenters for giving of your time. I want to thank our business partners for their donations and commitment. But moreover, I want to thank our young ladies for seizing the moment and making sure that it was one that was memorable. If you look at us and follow us on social media, those pictures have been posted. So please take a moment to review them. It does not speak to what transpired, but you'll have a general idea of the impact that it has on our young ladies. And so some of the feedback we received from them is we spoiled them. They said it was exciting because they had no school. It was exciting because there were no boys. And I think the best comment that I received was that they were able to do a TikTok with their superintendent. So their words, not mine. And so I just want to publicly thank everyone for allowing that opportunity for our young ladies to move forward. And for those of you who may say, what about the young men? They already had their empowerment conference a couple of weeks prior to. So we're just celebrating the options that we give our young ladies and our young men above and beyond the classroom. Moving forward, we're going to now have information presented to us by Dr. Chris Greiner on item 8.5, the Career Academy update, focused on our Freshman Academy. Dr. Greiner.
Good evening, Dr. Martin Knox, board.
Good evening.
Tonight, it is my pleasure to provide to the board an update on some exciting work that we are engaged in to improve outcomes for our students, specifically at the high school. You might remember back last summer, we provided an update to the board regarding our partnership with Ford Next Generation Learning and some of the phases of work that we would be engaging in this year as we looked ahead to potentially launching a career academy transformation in Raytown. So tonight, we are excited to share with you some of the work that we've been planning towards and our intentions to launch Freshman Academy beginning in August of 25. So back to why are we interested in this idea of a career academy transformation and where does the Freshman Academy fit in? Our why really centers on the profile of a learner here in Raytown. Again, you might remember conversations we've had earlier this year around that profile. Those are skills that we have developed collaboratively with our staff, our students, our business community, our higher ed partners, our community leaders, and the work to intentionally ensure that every student is academically sound, is reflective, is able to relate, contributes to their community, has professional skills and real-world experiences to succeed in a high-demand, high-wage career. That is our why. And so as we think about Freshman Academy tonight, as I'm sharing some information with all of you, please feel free to ask us questions. Please feel free to jump in and engage in the conversations we have planned moving forward. But we are very excited about what we have planned for our freshmen in the class of 2029. So as we begin to think about how we might develop a Freshman Academy to meet the needs of all students, tonight I wanted to share with all of you what are some of the essential goals of the Freshman Academy. Before I do that, though, just want to remind the board about our roadmap with Ford Next Generation Learning, this partnership that we've been engaged in for about 18 months. Last year, we began in phase one, the explore phase. We came to the board last spring with data around an exploration that Ford Next Gen had with us last school year. We felt like there was a partnership possibility there. We went to our staff and collectively we said, this is something we want to pursue. So this school year, we've engaged in phase two, which is Envision. So thinking about our preferred future. Where do we want to go with the academy model here in Raytown? How do we make it uniquely ours? And so we had those conversations during the fall and into the winter. And since February, we have started the phase 3 process, which is master planning. Part of that master plan is a multi-year rollout of the academy model, but we have to begin somewhere. And that beginning is with our current 8th graders, next year's freshmen, the class of 2029. And so we've begun to plan over what the next several years are going to look like as we roll out the academy model. But where we will begin is with that class of 2029 starting in the fall. And you'll notice where we're headed. Implementation, assuming that we come back to the board later this year in the summertime, we'll have that completed master plan, looking for the board to approve that. We'll also have the blessing of Ford Next Gen Learning of our plan, and collectively we will begin the process of implementing. So more to come later this summer as we plan to begin phase 4 and into phase 5. But just know that this process is over several years. And this planning process, phase 3, we've been engaging lots of stakeholders inside and outside the district. So for those of you in the audience that have been a part of those conversations, thank you. If you're interested in being part of those conversations moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out. We will find a place for you to engage. So why a freshman academy? A couple of reasons. Number one, we know how important that freshman year of high school is to really set the tone for a successful high school experience. We know that the transition from middle to high can be pretty daunting. Many of our freshmen sometimes lack the confidence or the skills to feel like they're ready. Sometimes our families may not quite yet know how to support their children as they're transitioning from middle to high. So we know that that transition is very important, and we need to pay particular attention to how we are setting our students up for success at high school. I will tell you that as we've looked at the data here in Raytown, some of the concerning trends that we see happen in our freshman year. When we look at attendance rates, when we look at behaviors, when we look at performance of our students, when we look at and talk to them about the way they feel like they belong here in Raytown, we find some of the lowest and most concerning data points at that freshman year. And now that's not unique to Raytown. Freshman year is tough on lots of kids all across the country, but we know we've got to do something different in order to change the trajectory of success for every freshman here in Raytown. So transition is important. We also want to focus on exploration. Yes, their success in high school is important, but we also need to set them up for success for what life is going to look like after high school. And so that process of exploration, what are they good at? What are they passionate about? And how does that line up with high demand, high wage careers here in Raytown and in the KC Metro? We want our graduates leaving to go do great things not far from us. We want them leaving the stage in June of 2029 at Cable Dahmer, and we want them right back in Raytown, meeting workforce development needs here in our community. So that exploration process is really important, and it really kicks off during their freshman year. So transition and exploration are really some of the themes that we'll be exploring during that freshman academy. So again, why a freshman academy? It begins with a smaller, personalized environment. We actually will be moving our freshmen into teams, much like for those of you that are familiar with the middle school model. Teaming is not unique or new to education, but we are bringing it to our freshman year. That's something new in Raytown. So a smaller, personalized environment where a small group of adults really are paying attention to and are shepherding that freshman class through their first year. We want to engage with local businesses so that our students can see themselves in careers in Raytown and around the KC Metro. We want to give them applied learning where learning is relevant and it's exciting and they're solving real world problems. We know we need to do better there. We want their learning to be rigorous. As I mentioned earlier about our why. When we talk about being academically sound, rigorous learning means that every student can read on grade level, that every student can problem solve with numeracy skills on grade level. That is our goal, but this why doesn't just isn't just answering a call to our freshmen. It's all of our learners, pre-K through 12. So know that these skills, we're not waiting around until they become freshmen to focus on these. But when we talk about what does rigor mean for us in Raytown, rigorous learning means on grade level learning and beyond. We are challenging our kids to do on grade level work and beyond. We want them exposed to college and careers. We want them on college campuses as freshmen. We want them interacting with industry professionals as freshmen so they can see themselves as being a success in those high wage, high demand careers that might mean furthering their education in college. Not every career, but some will require that college education. And then 21st century skills, the last part there, just mentioning those skills specifically about Raytown's profile of a learner. We know that we've got to do more to develop those skills intentionally in all of our students. And again, the Freshman Academy, we're going to be building experiences to do that. I've linked a video. We're not going to watch it tonight, but I welcome or would ask that you guys consider taking a look at another community, very similar to Raytown, similar demographics, size, a community that is also a part of the Ford Next Gen network. One of the benefits to our partnership with Ford Next Gen is that we are collaborating with school districts and communities around the country that are facing similar challenges to us and are succeeding and are meeting the needs of their students. And we want the same for our kids here in Raytown. So if you have a chance to take a look at what's going on in Romeo, Michigan, I highly encourage it. Those success stories are going to be the success stories that we're going to be able to talk about and brag on our students. So what will next year look like for our freshmen, and how is it different than maybe what high schools looked like in the past? So this gives you just a glimpse of what those Freshman Academy teams are going to look like next year. Some roles are going to be shifting a bit. Our current high school principals will shift into an executive principal role. We have real world learning coordinators that are serving as academy coaches at each of our schools. Our assistant principals, one of our assistant principals at each of our high schools are going to be stepping into what's known as an academy principal role. We'll have a designated counselor for the Freshman Academy, and we'll have designated staff. Right now, we're in the process of recruiting and talking to our staff about who's interested in stepping into that Freshman Academy role. But you'll notice the 5 blue dots there. Those represent English, math, science, social studies, and our freshman seminar course. So our freshman class of about 300 kids at each high school will be split into 2 teams. They will have dedicated teachers that they all share and will be supporting those students on each of those teams. Each of those teams will have their own unique identity. They'll build camaraderie. There'll be healthy competition between the teams. There'll be things going on in Freshman Academy throughout the year to create a greater sense of belonging for our freshmen. So we're excited about what this model will look like because, again, it will help our students be more successful as freshmen, but also will set them on a path for success throughout high school and beyond. So I'm going to pause there. Those are all the slides I have for you tonight, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions that the board might have.
Mr. President, Dr. Greiner, this is incredible work, very exciting. So for maybe some of our parents out there as they begin to learn more about our academy for our freshmen, and we talk about putting our students to work in Raytown, what might be some of our strongest industries in Raytown that might be attractive? Like if parents are thinking about, I want my kid to maintain, I want my student to maintain in Raytown.
Yeah. So one of the really interesting parts of this work is that we've been able to partner with local business. We've been able to look at workforce development projections, both current jobs as well as what jobs are emerging in the not too distant future. I would say a couple things have emerged for us that are new. Number one is healthcare, lots of opportunity in health and human services. And so information that we bring to you here in a few months is going to talk about the actual academies that will launch in the 26-27 school year. But health and human services are definitely an area where we're seeing job growth, here locally as well as the KC Metro. Another area that we're looking at is transportation and logistics. So how we move goods and services both in and out of Raytown and the KC Metro. That is a growing, thriving job market. And so how do we best prepare our students to pursue careers in what we would call global design, transportation, and logistics? Those are some careers that are really taking off. Those are a couple of areas that we've noticed here locally in Raytown as well as the KC Metro, where there is a lot of job creation around. And so we want to make sure that our students are aware of those opportunities and we can point them towards experiences in high school that get them ready for high wage, high demand careers in those paths and others. So more to come on that in the next few months.
Mr. President, first of all, kudos to you and your team. I remember talking about this at the beginning. You mentioned 18 months ago, and just to see where this has come, I mean, this is mind blowing. I did have a question concerning the teachers. Will they be dedicated to just their freshman center, or will they have other commitments as well?
So our ideal scenario is that these 10 teachers are with their freshman teams all day.
Okay.
Now we know that, and I'll give you an example. So most of our freshmen will take algebra as their freshman math class. But we know we've got some of our students that are taking algebra as 8th graders. And so next year they're going to take geometry as a freshman. And so we will have some teachers that might dip into the academy to teach a section of geometry or a section of enriched biology. But for the most part, these teachers, they will be spending their day with freshmen. And that's all they'll be teaching. They'll have time during their day to meet as an academy team to provide interventions for and supports for these students, but they truly will be shepherding this freshman class all day. And that is their work. We will have dedicated areas of the building where our freshmen will spend most of their day. So they'll be in their traditional home high school. They'll have the opportunity to attend elective classes as their schedule allows. But for their core academics and for their freshman seminar course, so 5 hours of their day, they'll be with their same team and those teachers taking care of those students.
Thank you for that. So it's sort of isolated in each high school. That are they isolated from? Is there other classes that are maybe a part of their class?
No. So yeah, they are dedicated to a unique part of the building. And I will say one of the things that's really got traction with our staff is understanding how we help our freshmen meet expectations. Some of the challenges we face with some students is just simply making sure that they're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And so part of this freshman academy will be to help them learn that, but then also encourage them on how they can move around the building productively. But yes, they will be, most of their day will be in a certain part of the school, in a certain hallway with those teachers.
Quick follow-up question, Mr. President. With the addition of the freshman academy, how will we introduce this to the incoming freshmen? I know we're kind of going to lay it out over the summer.
Sure.
But how will we introduce that, one, come the fall, but then the following year to the 8th graders at the end of the year? I know you already thought about this. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, so we've got some communication that's going to get out to families and students really soon. Obviously, we wanted to bring this to the board first, but we do have some communication. Mrs. Womble and her team are working collaboratively as part of a tactic team to really talk about how we communicate the why of this change and how we're planning to support students and families. So some communications coming soon. We certainly want to take an opportunity at some spring events at the middle school to begin to share some of this information. But then also really, I would say the big ramp up is towards our freshman transition day in August, when our freshmen come to the high school campus and it's them by themselves.
Gotcha.
And that'll be an opportunity for us to really begin to roll out and explain to parents and students exactly what Freshman Academy is going to look like. It'll also give us a little bit more time to plan out all the details. We're still
Absolutely.
working on some of those. But certainly this spring and summer, communication's on its way. And then when we kick off Freshman Transition Day in August, that'll be the big launch.
All right, thank you.
President, Dr. Griner, I was kind of holding back, not saying anything, but I did want to say something. First of all, I appreciate you for your tenacity and your go-get-it spirit. I wanted to just say that I am grateful to you for this collective grouping that you're doing. I think it's awesome that you are putting together our young people. The focus is on our teenagers. And so I just want to commend you for bringing this to the district. And I know you had more hands in it, helping you bring it to the district, but I do want to commend you as the leader to take the lead on this and to make sure it happens. And I'm very grateful to going out, seeing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Salisbury. Well, it always starts with leadership at the top. So I want to thank Dr. Martin Knox for her visionary leadership and our team of staff that have been part of building this. It really has been a collaborative effort. And so I appreciate being in front of you to be able to explain where we're headed. But rest assured, this has been a team effort with a lot of people, a lot of very dedicated educators, our teachers, our principals, our district leadership, our families, our kids, our business partners, higher ed. The really inspiring part of this work is that this is a collective effort of our community. This is a community-centered approach. And so while the district maybe has taken some initiative to start some conversations, our community, our business partners, our higher ed partners have been fantastic to work with. So it really has been a collective effort. But thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I wanted to say, I really appreciate you and the work that you and your team has done. I've seen it by being there every step, watching you do it and being there with you on the side of why you do it. I wanted to also kind of get your overall perspective of how Herndon will be engaged in this when we get to that point for people who don't understand Herndon will be involved in this.
Yeah, so we've been very fortunate. Dr. Reichert and her team have been at the table with us the whole way. We really see this as a complement to the great programs at Herndon Career Center. We know that the experiences that our students get at Herndon are second to none. And so we are really inspired by the great programming at Herndon, and we want to make sure that we give all of our kids a Herndon-like experience. And so Cheryl and her team have been fantastic thought partners, and they are with us planning together so that the programming and the pathways we develop collaboratively complement the great things that are already happening in Herndon.
The second part of this, the other part is the community partners that we have. How important are they to this program?
Critical. Yeah, critical. We've been through each of the phases, we've been able to engage our community and our leaders. For example, as part of the tactic team that I'm leading around governance, we've been fortunate enough to have the city of Raytown at the table, the city administrator, Damon Hodges, for example, at the table with us, talking about what governance structures could look like. We've been able to bring in thought leaders from Metropolitan Community College, other civic organizations. So we feel that partnership has been very strong and intentional, and we're grateful for that collaboration and commitment that community leaders have for students in Raytown.
Thank you.
Mr. President. So, Dr. Griner, on phase 4 implement, what does inspire, share, and contribute to the Ford NGL network mean?
So as an implementation district, we begin to live the academy model. And so part of this process is we actually work with other districts that are in similar phases as us. We kind of problem solve together. But also part of this is school districts and communities that are behind us in the process they might come to our district and we might showcase some awesome programs that we have that we want to use to inspire other communities. So for example, we've taken inspiration locally from school districts like Belton and Independence, who have an academy model in place. We've gone to Nashville, Tennessee to see those career academies in action. So part of the sharing and contributing is actually beginning to host communities that are considering the career academy model and maybe a phase or two behind us so that we can talk about, hey, here's where we struggled, here's how we solved that issue, and then we can also learn from them as well. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so before he, leaves, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Griner, for leading this charge and taking us in a direction that's just change. What we have recognized is that students drop out of school mentally in third grade. By the time they get to secondary, they begin to consider physically dropping out. This is an approach that will assist with that transition, but it's also giving students hope and opportunity. And if you all remember, our theme initially was providing students with hope and being that ray of hope, happiness, opportunity, a purpose, and a pathway to excellence. This is just a stepping stone in that direction. While sometimes making change doesn't always feel good, just understand that this is always all about children. And something that I say, a couple of things that I say. One thing is that we are only as strong as the community we serve. And so this is a community approach to making sure we are elevating our children in the pathway and the direction in which they need to go. And our children and our schools are only as strong as the community we serve. But I also say that we need to focus on our children and doing what's best for them. And sometimes as adults, we let our experiences get in the way of what we provide our children. And it looks completely different than what it was when we were in school. So I see Dr. Reichert in the back. She's been a part of this process, going back to one of the questions that was posed. It's not limiting our students with access and opportunity, but it's giving them additional opportunities to be successful. This is just another approach to say we believe in you, we're going to invest in you, and we're going to always do what's best for you. So thank you, Dr. Griner and your team, for your hard work and your efforts, and to our community and our staff for engaging in this work. The next item is 8.6, which is our amazing student representatives, and I don't know who's up first. No, I don't see them. I thought they may have come in. So Ray High. Thank you, Chase.
Alrighty, good evening, board, Vice President Newton, President Burton, and Dr. Martin Knox. My name is Chase Dernier, and I'm the Student Council President at Raytown High. And I'm Tamia Hall. Happy April, guys. We have had a very busy month at the school year. As the school year is wrapping up, and are so excited to share with you. This past Saturday, we hosted our prom at the John Knox Pavilion in Lee Summit. The theme was Masquerade in Paris, and we had an amazing turnout. We also hosted our bi-yearly blood drive at the beginning of the month with a great turnout from students and staff. Our next one will be in the fall. We have a couple shout outs for some of our student council members. Congratulations to Nicole Higgs, who received the Missouri Student Council Distinguished Leader Award. This is a very hard award to achieve. You have to attend Fulton multiple times, which is the summer camp for student council. You have to attend a Winter Energizer conference. You have to attend state conference multiple times, and you have to complete a whole list of tasks to get this award. So this is a huge award for her, and we are very proud of her. And then also another shout out to Aiden Barnett, who received a scholarship for a full tuition paid to the Student Council Summer Camp. And we are hoping to project him as our Distinguished Leader Award for the class of 2027. So we're super excited for him. And we also had 6 members attend the state conference, which unfortunately did get cut short to a tornado. In our leadership class, wrote cards to all the IAs, paraprofessionals, librarians, and assistant principals in our building for their National Recognition Days. Later this week, we will be handing out eggs with positive messages inside of them to all of the students that enter the building, and we call this Egg-tastic. This is just a way that really kind of uplifts our students and gets them in a positive mood for the day. And then the last thing wanted to talk about is we have a couple shout outs. So our student council, we all kind of talk every month, and we want to recognize some of you guys for things that we've noticed. So first of all, Dr. Martin Knox, a lot of our students in our student council attended the Sparkle conference, and all they said was positivity about it. They had an amazing time and it made a great impact. So we just wanted to convey our thanks and our recognition for all you did for that. It was an amazing event, and a lot of our members were impacted greatly. So. And then Vice President Newton, a lot of our student council members have all had interactions with you. They've been very positive. A lot of them, everyone knew who you were. They were super, they had a lot of good things to say about you, especially all the students who come here every month. And that goes from the South High and Raytown High team. You greet all of us. You have great interactions with us, and you've also offered so much help and support for our student council this year. So we're very grateful for that. And then Miss Natalie Johnson-Berry, we also want to recognize how much you have been at our events and how you always are there. You're showing up. We see you at so many places. We're very grateful about the impact you've made. And a lot of students have had amazing one-on-one interactions with you where you've only provided encouragement and positive words. So we are very, very thankful for the impact you've had on our students too.
Thank you all for listening, and also thank you for the support. See you next month. Do you guys have any questions or comments?
Thank you. It's a great presentation.
And as I bring the superintendent's report to a close, I just wanted to go into a little more detail as well in terms of notes of gratitude. Earlier, I expressed gratitude to Ms. Salisbury, but Ms. Johnson-Berry, I realized that I probably wouldn't have another time at the mic. So it's always great to have an educator, one who's focused on children, one who's creative and innovative to help guide conversations at times when they're most appropriate. So I wish you well in your future endeavors. I thank you for the work that you've done for the community, for our children, and as a member of the board and as a fellow administrator. So thank you for all that you do, and congratulations for your work. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Since she's not on the board anymore, we can hire her.
You're late.
Yeah. I remember when I was seeking re-election, and the first time Natalie ran for office, we were out, and I made the mistake of riding with her in the car. She's pretty good at what she does. You guys know that, but when you see her on the road, just pull off to the side.
Matter of fact, I ran over something pulling in the parking lot. Said they didn't see me.
Next we'll have
Good evening, President Burton, Vice President Newton, Dr. Martin Knox. I'm here for the Ray of Hope. We are proud to recognize Landon Berrigan, a student at Raytown Central Middle School, as our April Ray of Hope for exemplifying care and commitment to his fellow students and the Raytown community. His willingness to step up and dedicate his time to applying for grant funding to improve sports equipment at his school is a true testament to how deeply he cares for others. Thank you for being a ray of hope in Raytown School's learning community, and he will be presented with the grant and the award from Caring for Kids later this week. We do have a short video about Landon.
Your dream is coming true. Caring for Kids, the Lions say Raytown Central Middle know that because of your dream, we're going to make sure that you have better sports equipment and your legacy, what you breathe and raise from the rooms of school through casting.
So how I heard about the Dream Big contest was during, I think, our advisory. We got a presentation about the Dream Big contest.
He identified a need and something that was not only going to benefit him because he's only going to be at CMS one more year, but was going to benefit students at CMS going forward. It has to do with physical, mental, emotional health. It's not just, oh, I want to get this because it'd be cool. He's thinking about the future. He's thinking about his fellow students. He's thinking about students that will come up through the years.
I was like happy that I got the award. It was just like, I don't know if I want to be here right now in front of the entire school, because I feel like the entire school was at the rally that day. But I really enjoyed it too.
I think Landon has shown what it means to be a ray of hope in the community.
For me, how I feel to be recognized as that, I feel very happy for this because I get to help out our school with the sports equipment for our school, so all of us can be able to do more activities, maybe have more activities in gym instead of the same kind of games every time, and more sports teams for like soccer, baseball, maybe more volleyballs for volleyball.
He is just the kindest person, and he is just a team player, loves everybody, has a great sense of humor. He's just a good person.
I just had a feeling inside of me, it was just like, I felt like I needed to do this because I really wanted to help our community out.
He thinks outside himself. He cares about his friends, his peers, his school, his teachers, his parents, his family, his community.
Congratulations. Landon, would you please come forward? I'm sorry. And because he's not usually here, I do want to recognize Mr. Cloney, who puts together these wonderful videos that we watch every week. He was the professional taking the photo this week instead of me this month. Right. And we also want to recognize this evening Board Secretary Rachel Johnston, Mrs. Mrs. Johnston recently completed the Missouri School Board Association's Advanced Level Board Secretary Academy. She plays a very important role to the board, to the district, and to me personally. We are grateful for all that you do. Congratulations.
Emails and phone calls and whatever happens, but my right hand, my left hand, she's amazing. And so I wanted to take this moment to recognize you for your accomplishments. I know you would not have agreed, and I'm surprised I got this one over on her. She had no idea this was about to happen.
we have one person coming up for public comment. However, policy BDDH provides that the district residents and employees must sign up for board meetings, speak on matters placed on the agenda for consideration. If any district resident or employee wishes to speak on a matter that has not been placed on the agenda, they must request that the matter be added to the board's agenda at least 5 days in advance of the meeting. In order to maintain implementation of our policy, we will not hear public comment this evening on matters that have not been placed on the agenda. So we encourage you to follow procedures set forth by policy BDDH in order to properly raise your comments with the Board of Education. Thanks. Next, we'll have board committee reports.
Mr. President, I'll just give a brief report on Finance Committee meeting we met tonight, so minutes will come up later, and then the attachments are all in electronic school board, but we just went over a couple things, some remaining bond funds that still need to be expended. Some items will be coming to us soon, and spending the rest of those bond funds. Talked about our current balances and talked about bidding out the audit services, which will be before us in a few minutes, and then also just to go through the rate team recommendation and how that relates to current finances. So we're in good shape for right now.
And reviewed upcoming policies that will be put on the agenda for June, May, I believe. Anyways, next month. So those policies will be for your approval. Thank you.
That seems to be it for our committee reports. Next, we'll have open enrollment resolution. Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the resolution presented to oppose legislation regarding open enrollment. Motion made and seconded. Motion passed. At this time, we'll have a brief recess, about 5 minutes. All right. Time to reconvene. Next, we'll have the oath of office for Miss Edna. And Mr. Jordan. Yes. Here.
Amen.
Adelu Salah. All right. Okay. That's Bobby. That's fine.
We always have the references for where we are.
Hey, Rick, can you tell, or somebody tell Miss Bobby they're 15 minutes away?
So why we have to do that. And then we'll go through that stuff.
I'm ready.
We'll never do everything, but
If you would vote, you have a piece of paper in front of you to cheat on, but if you vote, raise your right hand and repeat after me at the same time. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and that I will faithfully and impartially
And the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of school director in and for the Raytown C2 School District
discharge the duties of school director in and for the Raytown C2 School District,
County of Jackson, State of Missouri, to the best of my ability according to law.
County of Jackson, State of Missouri, to the best of my ability, according to law.
So at this time, we will have the election of the 2025-2026 school board president. Is there a motion for the 2025-2026 board president? Motion?
I second. Can I second? I second.
You're official now. Yes, you're official now.
Appreciate that.
Are there any other nominations?
So what kind of questions?
So just,
Hey, it's gonna be different.
so just lesson learned, when children speak, I listen. Y'all heard what he said, right? Upon no further submissions, is there a motion to cease the nominations? Motion? You're official? No? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Alonzo Burton, for being elected as the board president for 2025.
Is there a motion for the 25-26 board vice president?
A motion that Nody Newton be elected vice president.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, upon no further submissions, is there a motion to cease nomination?
I make a motion to cease nominations.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Newton. All right. Now we have appointment of delegate and alternate to attend the Missouri School Boards Association 2025 Summer Summit. So the Summer Summit for the Missouri Board Association, where is it going to be held? It's going to be the same place in Branson on June 16th to the 17th.
I'm going to attend.
You plan to attend?
I do.
Mr. Newton, you plan to attend?
Bless you.
Always good.
Yeah.
All right, well, I will appoint Mr. Newton and Dr. Douglas.
See you then.
Which one of you is the delegate? And who's the alternate?
Rock, paper, scissors. They need you.
All right, so Dr. Douglas will be the delegate. Mr. Newton will be the alternate. All right, 25-26 insurance renewal. Is there a motion?
President, I'm going to be able to approve 2025 short renewal actually.
All right. Ready for you.
Good
Mr.
evening,
Co-Chair.
Mr. President, Vice President, members of the board. Welcome our newest members of the board and their cheering squads. We look forward to having all of you at all of our board meetings. It's very exciting. So welcome and congratulations. One of the most important things we do to maintain our competitiveness in the area with our staff is bring forward salary and benefits packages that help keep our staff healthy. We've been able to have a few years of no cost in those premiums, and that's been huge, as you all are familiar with the rising cost of everything, including health insurance. Last year, for the first time in the 18 years that I've been in the district, we were able to advance packages that had drops in premiums to our staff. And that is very important. I think one of the best things that we can do for our staff that we do better than most districts is care for our staffs, and the care we're able to provide to them with our care clinic and our wellness center is one of the things that sets us apart. We are able to do a lot of that work because of our partners with our business partner, CBIZ. And Dave Johnson is here tonight to talk to us about, in 5 minutes or less, to give us a brief overview of our insurance renewal. So the Rainmaker himself, Mr. Dave Johnson.
Thank you, sir. I certainly hope this is a good presentation for your first. I will make it brief, I promise. Again, Dave Johnson with CBIZ. We've been working with the district for many years now as your benefits consultant. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you and your staff. I'm going to just kind of focus on a few different pages here. Please, if you have questions, let me know. But in the interest of time, I want to focus on a few things. The first is to again briefly discuss last year's renewal. As Dr. Calcaris said, last year we were able to renew the plans in place at no increase to the district nor to employees. We were also able to offer a couple of plans that were lower in price than the traditional plans, and we were able to do that by using essentially different networks of providers, a little more narrow networks. Those plans were priced lower than the traditional plans. So we're able to secure pretty good renewals. We actually got very close to 30% of your population to enroll in those plans. And that's a significant change. That's a good change, offering those people lower plans, both for themselves as well as for their dependents. Page 8 here gives you an example of, or not an example, this is actually a renewal history since 2017. And you can see there's a lot of zeros on there. For the last several years, it's been zero. That average increase since 2017 is 2.1%. Given that medical inflation right now is running at about 9% annually, prescription drug increases are running at about 12% annually. That's a really good rate of increase or lack of increase. So we're very proud of that. The plans have remained basically the same in all of that time. So we switch to page 10 here. This gives you an idea of where everyone is enrolled. There is one plan that is closed. That plan's been in place for many years. It's closed to any new enrollment. And you can see the last two plans at the bottom of the page here are the two new plans that were put in place. The QHDHP is a qualified high deductible healthcare plan, and that's a larger deductible. And also an employee can maintain a health savings account next to that plan. And then there's a traditional PPO plan for those that are not interested in the high deductible plan or maybe can't contribute money to an HSA. It's important to note that for everyone enrolled in the HSA plan, the district contributes $750 at least toward that employee's high deductible healthcare plan. So that's money the district puts into their account that they can spend on healthcare expenses. That rolls over from year to year. They can also contribute themselves to that. If employees enrolled in the Blue Select Plus network plan, that B Blue Select Plus network listed there, they actually received an additional $800 to a total of $1,550 into that HSA. Just a tremendous benefit. That's a lot larger than a lot of our other districts that we work with. So that's something really to be proud of. So again, there's lots of information in the package. Be happy to go through that if you want, but I wanted to focus here on page 13, which gives you a summary of what's going to take place this year at renewal. One thing that does happen, and this happens every year with qualified high deductible healthcare plans, statutorily, those deductibles have to increase every year. This year on those qualified high deductible plans, there's two of them. Those deductibles are going from $3,200 individually to $3,300. And again, that's a statutory increase mandated by the government for the plan to maintain an embedded deductible. And just very briefly, that just means if you have more than one person on the plan with you, every individual has that $3,200 deductible at the most. If the deductible was any lower than that, or $3,300 starting on July 1st, they would have to meet the full family deductible. So we believe it's important to maintain that deductible at that level. The most important thing here is after some negotiations and some hard talk with your vendor, Blue Cross, we were able to secure another 0% increase for this year. So very happy with that. Again, all the plan designs will remain the same, assuming it's approved by you tonight. There'll still be the $750 contribution to the HSA for the Preferred Care Blue plan and $1,550 to the Blue Select Plus plan. And just on page 14 here, these are all the different rates for the plans. You can see the contribution for a couple of those plans is $0 for the individual employee, so they can be insured by the plan at no cost to them in terms of premium. Also, very, very, very important, and we don't emphasize this enough, and that is your on-site health clinic. It is a beautiful benefit. I wish all my clients could offer one. And as a reminder, for anyone that seeks services at the on-site clinic, if they're covered by a traditional PPO program, those services are at no cost to them. They are free. If you're covered by a qualified high deductible healthcare plan, based on, again, statutorily, you have to charge fair market value for services, or any sick services, as we call them. For any preventive services, those are all free as well. Any preventive services are free anywhere you get those. But at the clinic, if it's a sick visit, if you will, if you're ill and you go visit, the cost for that visit, fair market value is $30. For those of you that have been to a traditional physician, you know that actually the value of those visits are closer to $80 or $100 just for bare minimum. And then if they happen to get a prescription at the clinic, that prescription is for $8 for that script. So again, can't emphasize enough. The clinic is a wonderful benefit to employees. It's benefited your plan because, again, those services are services that the district pays for as part of the cost of the clinic, not charged to the health plan. Did I miss anything for you?
No, there was a note to self, but we could talk more about those things, but appreciate all the work you do to make sure that you keep our folks happy and healthy and in good working order, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'd be happy to answer any questions or move right on out of your way so you can get on to more important things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, ready for vote? Motion passes.
Mr. President. Move the board accept proposal from KPM CPAs and advisors chosen to perform the audit for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2025, at a cost not to exceed $38,315.
Motion made and seconded.
So we actually went out to bid for audit services and this was the only bidder, but we're happy with their services and there's just a slight increase. So Finance Committee recommends passing.
Thank you. Thank you. Ready for vote? Transportation dispatch radio equipment replacement. Second. Motion made and seconded. Motion passed. Next in new business, we have a bus purchase.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the bid for purchasing 5 vehicles through Midwest Transit. The total cost of $224,513.
Motion made and seconded. Oh, that's your son. All right, see you later, man. But you sit over there. You like, you sit over there with your people. Motion passes. Next, we have the new business. We have warehouse roof replacement. Is there a motion?
Mr. President. I move the Board of Education approve Cornell Roofing for replacement of the roof at warehouse in the amount of $433,650 with the $43,365 contingency and total cost not to exceed $477,015.
Second.
We also
Motion
discussed
made.
this in Finance Committee meeting and recommend approval.
You gotta get in there, bro.
I can't hear you. Go ahead.
The contingency is 10%, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 43,650. She got an award today. All right. Motion passes. The numbers would be the same. They just moved it down. Yeah, you're right. Excuse me. Hey, that's what I said, leave it like that. See. ISC building abatement.
In the amount $49,600, $4,960, and the total cost not to exceed $54,560.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Motion passes. Raytown High cooling tower and console upgrade.
Mr. President, I move the board to approve the Stegner Industries to upgrade the cooling tower and consoles at Raytown High School with a base price of $1,023,000, contingency of $102,300 for a total not to exceed of $1,125,300.
Second. Motion made and seconded.
Mr. President, I'll just point out and remind everybody, this is a great way to spend unexpended bond funds. So we're doing some great projects. Thank you, Josh, and all their work for being able to do this needed work, but with leftover bond funds. So
Thank you, Josh.
You all right.
For all you did.
Motion passes. Next, we have proximity learning. Oop, what happened? Yeah, 2025-26. Did you skipped it? Okay, I saw it. I saw it. Next, we'll have proximity learning. Okay. Next, we'll have Spire. Robinson Elementary Spire easement request.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education accept the offer from Spire in the amount of $13,170 for temporary and permanent easement at Robinson Elementary School.
Motion made and seconded.
Mr. President. So, Josh, I'm glad they're paying for this. Do they normally pay for this? And why are they paying for this? What do we get?
Good evening. So we, from time to time, get notified from utility companies that they need an easement to get from, sometimes there's new subdivisions, sometimes it's running new gas lines, a variety of different things. They come to us and give us an offer just to come in and basically, there'll be some disruption to the land as far as tearing it up, putting it back down. They make everything go back to where it's fine. We've done this in the past, but since there's a dollar amount associated to it, that's why it's coming before you.
So I guess they're coming right down Woodson, right in the front yard.
There's an attachment on there. I've looked, there's a couple other ones that are coming down the pipeline. I don't want to speak on that without having the attachment pulled up.
Okay.
But yes, when I went through it and I walked it with Spire to make sure everything was fine and everything looked as it should.
Just to add to that, they came down at my building at REAP. So it's a huge project that Spire is doing. So they came right
It
down
is.
75th Street and they had our street, kind of dug up. They did pay us for the easement as well. So it's something they try to do. And they do a good job as well as far as putting everything back. So
I do.
They went underneath. That's your mom, who's sitting right here? Yeah. That's beautiful, bro. What's she? All right, motion passed. Okay, proximity learning contract agreement. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the proximity learning contract for the virtual teachers for summer school in the amount of $13,900.96.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Motion passes. Next, we have 2025-26 salary and benefit recommendation. Check it out.
Good evening again. This is the time of year where staff really starts to pay attention.
Hey, hold
to-
just a second.
Excuse
We
me,
just gonna,
my bad.
no, yeah, let's, we need a motion first. Yeah. No. Okay. Continue.
This is the time of year where staff really starts to pay attention to what other neighboring districts are doing with regard to salary packages. Again, something we've been very proud of what we've been able to do with both health and staff salaries the last couple of years. I do want to publicly acknowledge and thank Ms. Jackie Vernon and her team for all their work around forecasting and taking what feels like a world of uncertainty, especially around school finance, whether it's at the county level, state level, or federal level. And we're asking Jackie and her team to forecast all of these inputs with expenditures and revenue. And that feels, I know, like a daunting task at times. We're able to bring a package recommendation forward in April because of the work that Jackie and her team have done. So a big thank you to them. And with that, I'll turn this over to Ms. Jackie Vernon.
Good evening, board member, President Burton, Vice President. Sorry. I always say this, but my brothers would never believe I'm too quiet. They just never would. So we're just going to review a financial analysis that was done before, closer to the beginning of the year, before we looked at the salary negotiations. We're going to look at where we are currently with salaries and benefits in, compared to 23-24. We're going to look at staff salary recommendations and then a leave buyback recommendations. When we started the year, we were looking at ending next fiscal year at about 19.7%. That was with very little salary input in at that time because we always try to wait until it's a little bit closer. This is a spreadsheet that I keep that shows just salaries and benefits, and it's showing from FY22 through where we currently are in FY25. Right now, this is at the end of March, we were sitting at just over 67 million in salaries and benefits. When I fill in those numbers with estimates of where I think we will be at the end of this year, it looks like we're going to spend right around 98.5 million in salary and benefits by the end of the school year. Our salary recommendation is 2% to the base and 1 step. That's estimated to cost the district about $3.5 million. There's also a leave buyback recommendation. This would be a pilot program that staff would be able to be paid for up to 4 unused sick days per school year at the current sub-daily rate of $140 for certified staff and $100 for classified staff. So we would pilot that this next year. And it's estimated not to cost the district any additional funds because the savings should be seen in less subs in the district on those days, for those days. We're also looking at a longevity incentive recommendation for 25-26. This would be an increase and it would be payout for banked leave for staff retiring through peers or PSRS. The recommended levels correspond with the employees' years of service to Raytown, and those numbers are shown below. So if you have worked for Raytown for 25 years or you die while you work for Raytown, you would be paid 75% of your daily rate of pay for your paid leave that has not been used. If you work for the district for 20 to 24 years, you would be paid 50%. 15 to 19 years, 45%. 10 to 14 years at 40%. 5 to 9 years at 30%. And 1 to 4 years at 25%. This will vary year by year depending on the number of retirees. We did look at last year's just to see what the cost would have been under this program. The actual cost last year was $145,000, and the estimated cost if we had done this with these numbers above would have been almost $329,000. So it was a difference of about $184,000.
I do want to say, Ray team working on quality work-life issues. One of the issues that keeps coming up is our fill rates for our substitutes. There is a staffing shortage, and that impacts our subs. Although we've worked really hard to raise our daily rate of pay, we've increased our sub pools. That fill rate is not where we need it to be. When you compound that with the difficulty, we see this time of year. If you have taken a job in another school district and you've got 7-8 days that you haven't used, we start to see folks that are using those days quickly because it doesn't incentivize them to not. We are hopeful, and that's why it's a pilot, that this part of this will incentivize folks to maybe be more intentional with some of those days and reduce staff absences. That also helps us keep our highly qualified teachers in our classroom, and that is the goal. The other end of this, we often hear, what is the district doing to recognize longevity and honor service? And so the other end of this is years of service attached to leave buyback. Right now, that is when you retire through peers or PSRS, that's 25% of your daily rate of pay. When we looked at last year's retirees, that would have been additional expense of $145,000, $184,000. If this plan incentivizes 2 or 3 teachers a year to stay with us, That almost pays for itself when you consider the cost of going to a vendor for a teacher is somewhere between $80 and $110,000. So if we get a few folks that are at year 20 and say, gosh, 5 more years, that is a great return on investment for us. And so we're hopeful that these leave buyback options combined will do 2 things. Reduce staff absences and also keep some folks around with us in RQS for a little longer.
So with the 2% to the base and 1 step, in looking at where we are estimating to end next year in reserves, it would be approximately 16.4%. However, our district does plan to make some cuts to offset that. And so with the cuts that we intend to make, we are looking at ending 25-26 fiscal year at 21.2% reserves. Our district, tries to stay at least at around 20%. That is considered a healthy, by the state, that is considered a healthy reserve. Do you have any questions?
Do you have those cuts, the percentage of that? What is the percentage based on what it was before? So we can get to the 20
Do
something.
you mean, so we're looking at approximately, I believe it's 4%.
4% increase on that, but what percentage of is it a cut of the administrative budget?
Oh.
Where are we making those reductions, if you will?
Yeah.
And so that work's already begun. So for example, we have 200 plus fewer students in the school district than we did the previous year. So as we're looking at positions and repurposing those, we can collapse. In some cases, we used to need 2 teachers. In this case, we now only need 1. In some cases, it was support staff. So those, cuts, I think, is a strong word. It's going to look more like collapsing and condensing and consolidating and repurposing because we need all the staff members we have. Do we need all the positions to continue to serve all the areas we have? Not necessarily. Some of those will also come out of budget cuts to departments as well. Again, as we move students out, some of those costs we can look at and be more intentional and strategic about where we're spending those dollars.
May I also add, am I permitted to speak? Did I jump in too soon?
Say no, but I'll leave it to
You could go ahead.
I'll let him go. I'll deal with it later.
No, I can't read her mind.
Yeah, you go ahead. You can go ahead.
No, I just wanted to reiterate what Dr. Calcara said. We've worked diligently to ensure that whenever we make fiscal cuts, it's less impactful on, or reductions, if you will. It's repurposing positions, it's assigning assignments so that the work can continue, because we value everyone that we have. But as you all know, we invest in our people. And so the last thing we want to do is eliminate people. So what we're doing is repurposing, reassigning, and adjusting responsibilities to get to that place where we're able to support the 2% to the base and the step. And so I just want to make sure I put that out there, because I don't want anybody to believe we're getting ready to make massive cuts at the school level. Whenever we're reducing, and again, I keep using that word cut because that's the language that will be used. But when we're talking about reducing, the reductions will begin initially with executive staff and RSEC and administrative staff. But also, as I said initially when I arrived, it's being responsible in terms of my spending as an adult, because a lot of our work, we have to be mindful of our spending. We are not in the same fiscal times as we've been. We've lost ESSER funds. We've hired people with those ESSER funds, and now we have to actually support those positions because there's a need. So they've been absorbed in our budget. So there are a lot of things that have taken place financially, not that anyone's done anything wrong. It's just a change in times and making sure we're mindful of our spending and the how we're spending, so that we can, one, show our staff we value them and support them in this work, because our teachers take care of our kids, our support staff take care of our kids, and we need to take care of them. So this is really about people moving forward. So I just wanted to put that out there, because when we talk about reductions, I want to make sure that we all know that it's not reductions at the school level, but we're looking at it from a leadership standpoint, to make sure that we can get to this place so that we're actually healthy and are operating in fund balance.
Mr. President.
I just wanted to bring attention to it, because that's something that has been occurring since Dr. Penelope showed up, is that we are, I feel like, moving more efficiently, especially at the leadership level, because we have reduced our spending in the administrative and not affected the buildings. And so that's greatly appreciated, which allows us to give the steps and do the increases that we've done. And so that's much appreciated.
Mr. President. So I also wanted to add, how much more stress will, like when we open this freshman center or do this thing with this freshman, how much would that impact the stress upon the teachers with asking them to do more with these cuts that we're going to be making? Reductions.
So we've been doing that work at the building level, if you will, because I know teachers behind me, they're going to hate when I say this phrase, but we schedule at DESE standards. And DESE, and they're probably like nodding like, yeah, we don't like to hear that. DESE standards has a desired standard and a DESE standard, and we're asking buildings to staff at the DESE standards. Now, we've been doing that for a few years. What that helps us do is keep a consistent staffing numbers in buildings. And so we've already been doing that work for a few years to make sure that we are consistent with what our enrollment numbers look at. So when you ask that question, really we're taking student enrollment and matching them with teachers. And so even adding freshman centers really doesn't change that variable.
Thank you.
Mr. President. I move the Board of Education approve the 25-26 salary and benefit recommendations as presented by rate team.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion?
I would just make one other comment. I just continue to appreciate that we use collaboration for our collective bargaining process. So thank you, rate team members and everybody, all staff who participated in good hard work again this year.
Also appreciate this, the process that we went through this year. It was informative from the start, and just the way it was presented. It allowed us to be able to digest it in a timely fashion where we can make these decisions as well.
I would like to second that and say it was much more palatable this year. Much more. I'd like to give Dr. Calcaire and Dr. Martin Knox and the staff a huge pat on the back for how you guys presented this year. Thank you so much.
May I? And one other thing, just to your points, Mr. Moore, we will always be inclusive with the processes as we're moving forward. We value the voice of our educational leaders, our support staff. And so I appreciate being invited in with Ray Team to have this conversation. We have those tough conversations behind closed doors, but all voices are heard and appreciated. And so I want to thank Dr. Calcaire for his leadership in this work, Ms. Vernon for her leadership, and Ray Team for coming to the table and trusting me enough to have these conversations. So thank you all.
Thank you all.
That's your mom and your dad?
Do we have a wheelchair? We have a wheelchair. He's okay.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. That's awesome. Motion passes. Next we have the consent, approval of consent agenda.
President, move this board approve that. 2014-2025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I'll take a moment to read the donations. Donation of $1,000 to student lunch debt from Seed of Faith Church to Southwood Elementary. Donation of candy, chips, stuffed animals, kites, and hula hoops worth $300 from Ivanhoe United Church of Christ to Robinson Elementary. Donation of Magua Helic gauges worth $1,200 from Travis Kiefer to Herndon Career Center. Donation of tissues, dry erase markers, miscellaneous food supplies worth $275 from Hope Network to Robinson Elementary, and a donation of $250 to the community fair to Raytown Middle School, for the community fair to Raytown Middle School from the Health Center. We appreciate once again all the donation and all the support that we get from our churches and organizations in our community. And I'm sure it'll go nicely with educating all of our children, all of our students. Thank you very much. Ready to vote? Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President. For the regular Board of Education meeting at 8:31 p.m.
Motion made and seconded.
Okay, thank you.